Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and install this Caltrac bracket. I have the bolt removed right now for the front of the leaf spring, so I'm going to jack the truck up enough to be able to get this bracket on it. Now that that's good, I'll lower it back down. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to lubricate the center of this bushing. This bushing slides inside here, then this bushing actually goes right inside here. So the kit does come with this little bundle of grease here. I'm just going to go ahead and lube up the inside of this. And I'll make sure this thing is good. I'll wash my hands off. Alright, so now what I'll do is kind of line this up. Alright, so now that that's all the way through and flush, just going to clean it up a little bit. Then I'll lower the truck back down. And I'll do whatever maneuvering I can to get this bolt in. Alright, so now that that bolt's in, I'll go ahead and tighten it down. Alright, so here we have these two nuts. So one's going to be a right-handed thread, one's a left-handed thread. So I'm going to go ahead and back these things all the way off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread the bar on. And I should have enough here to be able to thread that on, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this off. Then I'll thread this all the way in. This one's the left-handed thread. Then I can pull it back and put this thing on. I'll put this thing on, and then what that should do is allow me full adjustability on this bar. So I'm just going to hand tighten that for now. So now what you'll be able to see is when I adjust this bar, this section actually gets closer to the leaf spring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to where it just rests right on top of the spring. So I'll just put it on there snug, not too tight, and that's where I'll leave it just as a starting point. So then what that'll do, as you accelerate and the wheel rolls forward, that'll twist the axle backwards, and as the axle tries to twist backwards, it pushes that bar forward, and as it's trying to push this bar forward, it has a pivot point here, which is going to be stopped by this bar here. So essentially this motion here is the same as the axle trying to wrap and pushing this bar forward. This plate pivots, and then it catches on the leaf spring to stop the axle from wrapping. It does have a little bit of adjustability. It's adjustable at both ends of the bar. It does have two different holes, so you can adjust the bar angle if you want. So I feel like that should work pretty good. Considering this was the bar that I had on there before, that's all I had, and it was actually on the top side. So this little plate was bolted in right here. And then this was bolted right to the U-bolt for the axle. So same concept. To prevent the axle from wrapping, it just had a bar there to stop it from turning. And that worked pretty well. I didn't have any wheel hop or anything like that. So this should be a little bit better without being, you know, overly complicated. I can tell already just by looking at it that I'm going to have to get like a pinion shim because that angle's kind of tilted back pretty far. But to be fair, the rear end of the truck is about 5 inches lower now than it was. So you can see the front's pretty high and the rear's squatted pretty low. I actually think I still have it raised. I actually think I still have it lifted up too. Yeah. So that lowered it a couple more inches. So yeah, that's kind of where it's at now. All right, so that's pretty much it for getting the rear end done. I do got to do a brake line, and then I do got to mount the fuel cell in there. So that'll be coming up here pretty quick. I will probably flip the truck back around and then start to work on the front suspension and get that all leveled out. So I might actually do that first before I put the bed back on and get the pinion angle and all that stuff figured out. Probably get the truck level first. But other than that, I like how everything turned out. Nice and clean now, not all rusty. New leaf springs, Caltracs. I was able to touch up some of the other rusty spots. So should be a lot nicer to work on now too.